Hi, and welcome to Gavin Lon Digital. I'm Gavin Lon. Just before we get started with this tutorial, I'd like to make you aware of a little issue in the previous tutorial, i.e. part 7 of this course. A shout out to Paul for pointing out this issue in the comments section of part 7 of this course. So, in this footage, at about 6 minutes and 8 seconds into the video, where I'm discussing the application user class and how it extends the identity user class, which is a class that is built into the identity system, the property named user category is not present here, and it should have been present in the relevant video footage. So if you are missing the user category property, please add the code for the user category property into the application user class. Please note that although it is best to have the user category property, this has a very low impact on the functionality of this project. I have included this code in here to demonstrate how you can establish referential integrity between two database tables using EF Core Code First migrations. If you have any questions relating to this issue or any aspect of the course so far, please leave them below in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, in the previous tutorial, i.e. part 7 of this course, we built the admin menu and integrated the admin menu into the main menu bar. We did this by creating a partial view named _admin menu partial to encapsulate the admin menu code. We then integrated the _admin menu partial view into a special view known as a layout view. The layout view is a special view that enables us to include code for aspects of our web application, like headers and footers, to be consolidated in one place. So, for example, one code implementation for the header menu can be rendered across multiple web pages, giving the web application a consistent look and feel while providing us with a facility for efficient code reuse. So in this tutorial, we are going to add what is known as an area to our project. The menu items in our admin menu will contain links to certain views, i.e. certain web pages, that will be stored within the area that we'll create in this tutorial. We'll name this new area admin. The concept of an area provides us with an effective method of partitioning a large application into smaller units where each unit contains a separate MVC project structure. Note that the default folder structure for an area will be the same as the default MVC folder structure that can be seen in our default area. When I talk about the default area, this is the area with which we are already familiar. The default area was created for us when we first created our project based on the ASP.NET Core MVC project template. So our web application isn't particularly large, but I thought it would be a good idea to introduce you to the concept of an area. And in our application, it does provide the advantage of separating the MVC-related code files used for implementing administration functionality from the MVC code files used for non-administration functionality. So by partitioning a project into areas, we have the advantage of facilitating cleaner code. As the code evolves and becomes more complex, the code can still remain clean, easy to understand, and easy to maintain. The basis for which a developer or team of developers chooses to separate the relevant areas is dependent on a project's requirement. For example, if a group of developers were to create an ASP.NET MVC application for a large organization's HR department, where each department had varying requirements, it may be wise to separate this HR MVC web application into areas based on department. For example, you'd have an area for the accounts department, an area for the human resources department, an area for the marketing department, an area for the technology department, etc. So our web application is fairly basic. So we are going to partition our MVC web application based on whether a user is an administrator or not an administrator. To implement this explicit partitioning of our code, we are going to use areas, which are provided for us in the .NET MVC framework. For content like this and much more, please consider subscribing, and please ring the bell to be notified of future content. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. So let's look at the folder structure that is provided to us out of the box by the MVC framework. So in our default area, i.e. the area that was automatically created for us when we first created our project, we have a folder for models, a folder for controllers, and we have a folder for views. When we create a new area, this folder structure is duplicated. So each area will have a folder for models, views, and controllers. It is important to note that each area has its own layout view. This means that common user interface elements can be included in the layout view for a particular area, and these common user interfaces can be rendered for all views contained within the relevant area. So layout views included within each area can be customized for each area. This ensures that as the project evolves, that the code remains clean and easy to maintain. So let's create an area where code for our admin functionality will reside. So to do this, let's right-click the project node in our Project Explorer window. Let's then click the Add menu item, then Scaffold New Item. Then at the top of the list in the dialog box, let's select the item marked MVC Area. Let's click the Add button. Let's give our area the name of Admin. Then let's click the Add button. Great! So, as you can see, we are presented with a text file named scaffolding readme.txt within Visual Studio. So the text within the scaffolding readme.txt file is telling us that we need to include the code presented to us in this scaffolding readme.txt file in our startup.cs file, so that the MVC framework knows about our new admin area. So let's copy this code here and include it within our startup.cs file, like this. So we can include the code within the existing routing related configuration code here. Let's replace the name, which is currently set to areas, with the name of our area, which is of course admin. Note that this code is routing related code, and we have not yet discussed routing in MVC. We'll discuss routing in detail in a later tutorial. For now, please note that basically, what we are doing here is letting the MVC framework's routing system know about the admin area. So basically, this configuration code within the startup.cs file is informing the MVC framework's routing system about the admin area and how to navigate to the relevant MVC files within that admin area. So for example, these URLs make sense to the MVC framework because we have appropriately configured our routes for our MVC project. So as you can see in our admin area, the MVC folders that were created for us automatically in the default area are also created within our admin area. We have a folder for models, views, controllers, and data. So let's include some of the necessary files we need within our new area. Note, I won't explain the purpose of these files in this tutorial, but we'll discuss the purpose of these files in later tutorials. I want to keep this tutorial practical in nature. So let's copy the files we need from the default area and paste them into our admin area. So let's copy the _view imports.cs HTML file and the _view start.cs HTML file and paste these two files into the views folder within our admin area. Let's create a shared directory within the views folder within the admin area. Let's copy the _layout.cs HTML file from the shared folder in our default area and paste the file into the shared folder in our admin area. So the next step I want to do is use scaffolding to generate default code for our category entity. So we want to automatically generate code through Visual Studio to handle our CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete operations for the category entity or model. So, MVC provides us with an easy facility within Visual Studio to do this. So to do this, right-click on the Controllers folder within the admin area. Click Add and then Scaffold New Item. Then within the dialog box, select MVC Controller with Views using Entity Framework. Click the Add button. Now within this dialog box, we can choose the entity or model on which we wish to base our code for our automatically generated controller and automatically generated related views. So in the Model Class drop-down field, select Category. From the Data Context class drop-down list, select Application DB Context. Then let's change the default text value that has been provided for us in the Controller Name field from Categories Controller to Category Controller. We can leave all the other fields as they are, i.e. at their default values. And then let's click the Add button. So now the MVC framework has generated default CRUD operation code for our category entity. CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. So you can see that we have our CRUD operation related views created in a directory named category. The category directory has been created within the views directory. So this was automatically generated by the scaffolding operation we have just performed. So in the controllers folder, a file named categorycontroller.cs that contains a class with the name categoryController has been automatically created through the scaffolding operation that we have just performed. This class contains CRUD operation-related functionality, which is encapsulated in appropriately named methods known as action methods. Each action method corresponds to a particular view. So, for example, the index action method corresponds to a view named index. The create action methods correspond to a view named create. The edit action methods correspond with the view named edit. So the relevant views are implemented using a technology called Razor. The Razor technology allows for HTML code to be interspersed with C# logic. Each of these Razor views can be strongly typed with a specific model. You can see here that our edit view is strongly typed with the category model. This line of code, which you can see at the top of the relevant Razor views, is code implemented for strongly typing the relevant views with an appropriate model. Note how the folder that was automatically generated for us in the Views folder after we performed the relevant scaffolding operation is named Category. This name, Category, corresponds to the Category Controller class. There are naming conventions within the MVC framework, which corresponds to the MVC framework's routing system. We'll look at the details of this in later tutorials. The functionality inherent in the MVC framework structure is implemented for the purpose of creating a loose coupling between concerns, i.e. models, views, and controllers, a separation of concerns. Models are the back-end entities implemented as C# classes, for example the category class. The shape of the data is determined by its public properties. We could also implement behaviors through methods if necessary, but there is not a requirement for this at this stage in the development of our application. Views are used for the front-end display of relevant data to the user. Views are implemented through the use of a technology named Razor, which enables the combination of C# logic with HTML. Controllers. Certain functionality within the action methods contained within controllers ushers data between models and views. This is the basis for the MVC framework, or MVC design pattern, to create a loose coupling between concerns, models, views, and controllers. So at this stage, I don't want to go into too much detail regarding the theory behind the MVC design pattern. I want to keep this particular tutorial practical in nature. So let's go to the default area and update the partial view that we created in the previous tutorial named underscore admin menu partial, so that the categories menu item links to the index razor view for our category entity. So, we can do this by setting the following attributes within the relevant categories menu item here. This menu item is expressed in code as an anchor element. So, within the relevant A tag, add ASP-area equals to admin, ASP-controller equals to category. Notice that the category controller is referenced as category here, and not category controller. The class for the category controller is named category controller, but we can reference this controller with the name category, i.e., we have removed the controller suffix from the name of the controller. This is a convention in the MVC framework. Even though the class name contains the controller suffix, when it comes down to navigation code that points to a particular controller, we must omit the controller suffix. So lastly, let's set the ASP-action attribute to index. The index razor view contains code that displays a list of categories. So basically, when a user clicks the relevant link here, this will navigate the user to the correct area, controller, and view. This view is appropriate in terms of the MVC framework's configured routes. We'll discuss routes in detail in later tutorials. Let's run the code. So when we click on the categories menu item, we are navigated to the admin area, to the index view of our category entity. And out of the box, we are able to perform basic CRUD operations. So let's create a category. Let's give this category a title of C# for beginners, and let's add appropriate text to the description field. We can include the following path to an image that can represent the C# for beginners category. Please feel free to download the images that have been included in the relevant GitHub repository. The relevant details have been included below in the description. So let's press the Create button. And there it is. We have created our first category. And out of the box, we can perform create, read, update, and delete operations. So let's update our category's description. Great! Let's create another category. Excellent. Let's delete the categories from our list of categories. Excellent. Please familiarize yourself with the code that was automatically generated for us for our category entity. Please look at the razor view code in the views folder, as well as the code generated in the relevant controller class. You can see how a loose coupling of concerns is facilitated in code between the aspects of MVC, models, views, and controllers. We'll delve deeper into the CRUD-related code in the next part of this tutorial. I just want to close this tutorial by saying that please don't worry if you are confused by some of the MVC concepts at this early stage in the course. This is understandable, especially if you are new to developing web applications using the MVC design pattern. I'll do my best to clarify the MVC framework-related concepts as the course progresses. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. Please consider subscribing for content like this and much more, and please ring the bell to be notified of future content. Please feel free to share this video with anyone you feel may benefit from its content. I really enjoy engaging with you in the comments section, so please feel free to share your thoughts with me in the comments section. If you have any questions regarding aspects of this course so far, please leave them below in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. The latest code can be found on GitHub. A link to the relevant repository has been included below in the description. Thank you, and take care.